our local food bank has a pallet of these kiwi fruit, and they can't give them out quickly enough, so sometimes when they have excess of fruit like that, they'll give me a call and allow me to try some of it for them. So, and these are pretty big boxes. They're not just the little flats. They're big boxes. They have a whole pallet. So obviously they could use some help. So I haven't done kiwi fruit in a long time. It's pretty expensive. It's $3 for $1 at its cheapest. It's not worth dehydrating because it's a lot of work and they're softer. You have to get them just right when they're getting ripe in order to get them to the best. Also, it's a high acid fruit, so sometimes like tomatoes, they will start to brown or blacken. And you can see some of them are kind of brown. Other ones will, those are the thinner ones. The thicker ones may not turn. We'll see. Easiest way I have found to dehydrate them is to, especially if they're not overripe. So these ones are really nice and firm. There are a few soft spots on some of them where they've gotten bruised, but for the most part they're pretty good. I use a peeler. Just peel them like I would a potato and slice them just in slices and stick them on the dehydrator. I like the silicone things because you can see it's very sticky. It's so sweet. These ones are really sweet. My daughter talked about how sweet they were and she really liked them. So she said I was just going to do one tray and see if she liked them, and then I'd go to the effort if she did. I talked to her about doing them as a fruit leather. She really doesn't like fruit leather because that way when you blend them, all of the seeds go to the bottom. So you can blend it, make a fruit leather, use your fruit leather trays, and pour it on, and then you will just get mostly the green, and the seeds will all sit to the bottom. Personally, I kind of like popping the seeds, but it's just a personal preference. So one way is to put them in the blender, and personally I think that's probably the fastest way because then all you have to do is cut the kiwi fruit in half and use a spoon to scoop it out. It's pretty easy to, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one-handed, but anyway, it's pretty easy to go around the edge, kind of like you do a hard-boiled egg. Let's see if I can do it from here. Basically, you just take it and go around the edge like that, and then kind of shove it underneath, just like you would a hard-boiled egg. Now, this is the knot end. This is the vine end, so it's kind of harder, but for the most part, you can scoop it out like that, throw it in the blender, and then all the seeds mostly will go to the bottom. And you could do it this way to dehydrate it and then just slice it, but that will bruise some of the fruit, and it will, when it's bruised, it will turn the darker color. Just that naturally happens when you bruise a fruit. So by getting it out that way, you bruise it a little bit. So I personally like to use the peeler, slice it about the thickness of banana. When I dehydrate a banana, maybe a quarter an inch or less. Quarter an inch is a little bit thick. Some of those are a little thicker, and then the thinner ones will turn brown. But but like I said, these ones are a little bit sweeter, and they're a little bit, they're just almost perfectly ripe. But if you do them when they're too hard and too ripe, then they're more acidic and they aren't very sweet when they're dried. So it's better to get one that's just barely ripe. The problem is trying to peel it when it's barely ripe. So kiwi is a very hard, kind of a finicky fruit to dry. So like I said, I think your best bet is to make it into leather, put it in the blender. Easiest way, cut it in half. You can get them done. You could probably do 15 in a minute if you get fast at it, and just peel it out, throw it in the blender, blend it all up, pour it on the fruit leather trays, and the last little bit don't pour in because it's going to have all the seeds in it, and that way you'll have more of a seedless thing if you don't like seeds, because most of these would have seeds except for the very edges. So another way you could do it if you don't like the seeds is to cut it this way. Instead of cutting it like I did so it looks like an eye, you could cut it this way, and then this way, and then this way, and then this way. And that way you wouldn't get any of the seeds. But I think there's a lot of nutritional value in the seeds in the center. So I dehydrated them this way. So we'll try them tomorrow when they're a little bit more fully dehydrated. They've only been on for 5 hours, so we're going to leave them on for a little bit longer. Most of the fruit that I dehydrate is about 130 degrees, and that seems to do pretty well. Thinner fruits or herbs, you have to do it a lot less, but most fruits I do it about 130. So check out my blog, thesecretisgratitude.com, and I'll have a post about this with pictures before, during, and after, and how to cut it up, and you can see the finished fruit on the blog. Just go to the bottom of the home page and type in kiwi fruit, and it should come up. Thanks for watching, and feel free to ask any questions.